Have you ever found yourself attracting the same type of people over and over again and wondering why you can't seem to break the pattern? New face, same guy. I certainly used to be there. For years, I was only ever attracted to emotionally unavailable guys. And it made no sense to me why this kept happening because it was always based off the first initial attraction that I had towards them. I was always magnetically drawn towards them over any other guy, like if I met them at a party or on a dating app. But I would have no clue that they were emotionally unavailable until after a while of dating them. Yet anytime a guy actually was emotionally available, I wouldn't feel any spark or any chemistry when I first met them or on the first few dates. And so I went digging on the good old Googs and found that psychology teaches that we attract partners that remind us of our upbringing by our parents because it's familiar to us. And so to break out of the pattern, you need to date someone outside of your type. But I was not happy with that answer. It still made no sense why I would initially vibe with unavailable people before even getting to know them. And I definitely wasn't gonna force myself to date someone that I'm not attracted to. But then one fated day, while researching this, I found out about the law of attraction. The law of attraction states that we attract things into our life based off of our subconscious beliefs, and that the 3D world around us is a mirror of our subconscious programming. So if you keep attracting the same guy but with a new face, it's because of your programming. And so in order to change what you attract, you have to change your beliefs. And the law of attraction also teaches us that everything in the 3D world around us holds a certain vibrational frequency. And in order to attract certain things to us, like a healthy relationship, we have to become a match to its vibrational frequency, or its vibe. Which is interesting because when you're dating someone new, the first thing that you look for is whether or not you vibe. It's not something that you can put into words or explain, it's just a feeling. But it's because you both vibrate on the same frequency. Your brains are operating on the same wavelength. And so even if you have zero hints on the first date that they're emotionally unavailable, your subconscious picks up on this and you end up feeling the vibe with them. Which is beautiful because that means if we change our vibe, we can change who we vibe with and attract someone so much better. So what kind of subconscious programming attracts emotionally unavailable people? Well, if you notice yourself constantly thinking thoughts like men are trash, guys don't want to commit these days, I'll be single forever, every woman is a cheater, you will see those things manifest in your reality and find yourself in situations that trigger these beliefs. So be mindful of the stories that you tell yourself. Anytime you notice a limiting belief like this, notice the thought and then flip it into an affirmation instead. Stop and tell yourself, there are many wonderful men out there. There are plenty of guys in relationships, which means plenty of men want commitment. I know I'll get into a relationship in divine timing. Plenty of women are faithful. Look for examples of how these statements are true. If you constantly focus on these limiting beliefs, you'll be surrounded by people who confirm this bias. But if you look for examples of lifelong happy relationships, you'll find plenty of examples there too. But these fleeting surface level beliefs are only a part of the reason why you keep attracting emotionally unavailable people. A much deeper reason is because you're emotionally unavailable to yourself. I know, it's mind-blowing. Okay, but what does it actually mean to be emotionally unavailable to yourself? Well, things like not slowing down to tune in and listen to your emotions every day, not listening to and voicing your needs, people pleasing, accepting a situationship when you really want a relationship, or staying in a bad relationship instead of walking away, trying to fix feeling lonely by jumping from date to date, etc. And since you're emotionally unavailable to yourself, the world serves as a mirror and reflects back to you emotionally unavailable people. But when you become conscious of this fact, you can use this as a tool for healing rather than getting frustrated at the mirror. When you change yourself, the reflection in the mirror will change. And this also greatly relates to our attachment style, because our attachment style plays a huge role in the types of partners that we attract. And if you're unfamiliar with what attachment styles are, in short, anxiously attached people lean towards being clingy and desperate for love, while dismissive avoidant people are more aloof, fear commitment, and would rather be on their own. Oftentimes, we have a little bit of both attachment styles within us and can flip-flop depending on the scenario, but typically we lean more towards one than the other. So people who are anxiously attached are often attracted to emotionally unavailable people because it triggers our fear of abandonment. And people who are dismissive avoidant can also be attracted to emotionally unavailable people because it's safe. as their subconscious knows that it won't lead to a relationship. So many times we keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, yet we don't realize that deep down we actually fear commitment ourselves. So working on healing your attachment style is paramount to healing. Why did I sound like Trump when I said that? Paramount. So working on healing your attachment style is paramount to attracting healthy relationships. And if you want to learn how to do that, I have a whole video series all about attachment styles, which I'll link right up here and below in the description. But how do we specifically heal and reprogram our subconscious mind so that we can attract emotionally available people? The first step is to become aware of your limiting beliefs. Journaling is a super powerful way of diving deep and unraveling your limiting beliefs. And if you want some helpful journal prompts, they're included in a blog that I wrote on this exact topic, which you can find on my website, linked below. But some examples of journaling prompts are: what negative beliefs do you hold about relationships? Or negative beliefs about yourself and your self-worth? So after you've journaled and discovered some of your limiting beliefs, create a list and flip those beliefs into affirmations. For example, if you found you have the belief that you're unlovable because you have a chronic illness, flip it by saying, even though I have this chronic illness, I'm still worthy of love. Or if you think you're too short to attract a partner, tell yourself that there are plenty of short people in relationships and that won't deter my soulmate from wanting to be with me. Or if you think that no men want relationships, flip it by saying there are plenty of men who want commitment, as I see men in relationships around me all the time. Or even, I'm the type of girl that makes a guy want to commit, etc. Make a list of all of your affirmations and then add it into your daily routine to read the affirmations. I personally like to do this after my morning meditation, but the important key is that the subconscious mind is reprogrammed through repetition and emotion. So the more you tell yourself these affirmations, the more your subconscious will absorb it. And the more you can feel into the emotion of these affirmations being true, the more your subconscious mind will believe them. It's also important throughout the day to practice being conscious of the thoughts that you have. Anytime you notice a limiting belief come up, observe it, and then remind yourself that that was your old way of thinking, and then flip it into an affirmation instead. Flipping your thoughts multiple times a day, every single day, is a super powerful habit, as eventually the affirmations will become your dominant way of thinking. It's also important to note that on this journey, you will become triggered. Situations will arise from your old pattern that will leave you wondering if it's even really possible to break this cycle after all. But don't be alarmed. Being triggered is a part of the healing process. And triggers are our friends, as much as it doesn't feel like it. Triggers are like the universe poking the wounds, showing us where we still need to heal. They allow the old subconscious programming to come to the surface to be released. Because in order to call in your new reality, you have to purge the old reality, and that's what triggers do. So when a situation comes up that triggers you, for example, say you're dating someone and they ghost you for a few days, validate your emotions. Take a moment and tune into how you feel. Like, I feel hurt right now, my heart feels heavy, I feel like I've been abandoned, and I feel anxiety and my stomach feels squirmy. Let yourself feel the emotion, don't run from it. Sit with it, hug yourself, cry, and just be there for yourself. Then journal and find the meaning that you're giving the situation. For example, you might think he's not responding because I'm not good enough, or he lost interest because I came on too strong. The important key is to notice these thoughts, but don't spiral into them. Observe them, but don't believe them as truth. And then once you feel like you've sat with the emotion long enough, once again, tell yourself affirmations that oppose the beliefs. Remind yourself that what you're experiencing in your 3D reality is just a purge of your old limiting beliefs. The 3D is just reflecting your old story. But now you're shifting into a reality where you're cherished, loved, and adored by your very committed partner. So you don't need to wallow in your misery forever. Have hope that things are looking up. This circumstance isn't your end state. So focus on the reality where you have exactly what you want and don't accept anything less. Lift your vibrations back up to feeling loved and chosen within yourself, without needing anything external to happen to make you feel that way, because you make yourself feel that way completely on your own. And This process of sitting with your emotions and then raising your vibe might take a few minutes or a couple days. So follow your intuition on when you're ready to shift from the low emotional state to a higher one. You don't want to be bypassing your emotions. And speaking of timelines, I bet you're curious how long it'll take to completely reprogram your subconscious and finally attract someone emotionally available. Well, you didn't adopt these limiting beliefs overnight, and so unfortunately you won't heal and change this pattern overnight either. So few people tend to talk about how long it'll actually take to break the cycle because they don't want to instill any limiting beliefs into anyone. And so when I first went on this journey, I thought I could just say some affirmations and within a week manifest a boyfriend, and was sorely disappointed when that was not my reality. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to break the cycle within a week. I've seen all kinds of timelines for different people. It just depends on where you're starting from and how much negative programming you have to undo. It also depends on if the universe wants you to do most of your healing while being in a relationship that triggers you to grow, or if you'd benefit from doing this work alone for a while. When I first started implementing this work, it took me 2 years before I started being attracted to emotionally available people and then got into a relationship. And part of the reason why it took so long was because I took a long break from dating, because I had to overcome my need for constant validation from men. And if you're like me, who used to go on a new date every single week, constantly needing a new guy to talk to, and then being disappointed when there's either no chemistry, no compatibility, or they're not emotionally available, then it's a good idea to stop dating. Take a break and learn to be happy and fulfilled completely on your own. Don't try to fill the void of loneliness through dating, but instead sit with loneliness and give it love. Tell yourself affirmations like, I don't need a relationship in order to be happy. It will take time, but a day will come where you genuinely feel as happy and whole and complete on your own as you do in a relationship. But even though it took me years, it definitely doesn't take everyone years to heal. I've seen people break the cycle in weeks or even months. And even if it does take you years, when you've had decades of negative programming, a few years is pretty quick when you really think about it in the grand scheme of things. So remember that this is a lifestyle change, a habit that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life, constantly noticing when you're triggered or have limiting beliefs and choosing to believe positive affirmations instead. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'm so excited for you to break this cycle that you've been stuck in, whether it's attracting emotionally unavailable partners or any other pattern in your life, honestly. These same techniques can be used to break any pattern that you're stuck in. Remember that change begins within. Don't become a victim to your reality. Take your power back and shift your internal world so that your external world can reflect back to you the life that you deserve. And if you want to dive deeper into how to heal your relationships, you can watch my video about healing your attachment style right over here. But until next time, I'm sending you so much love.